every athlete, every person, every human being has an opportunity. Some opportunities don't come when you want them. But if you're prepared, good opportunities can happen. Always be ready, because you never know when your number is gonna get called.
I'm not coming back.
EMI Apparel, encourage me, I'm young.
Calvin T. Mann, leading EMI, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to EMIYTV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
Yeah, welcome to EMIYTV Put Your Family First Podcast. And let us be clear, as I sit here, there is a championship hat on my head. Right? I just want that to be clear. For all you guys out there who was talking crazy, calling my phone, and don't take the field goals. We gonna make this simple.
Oh my goodness!
I
Are you
gotta
having
do this.
flashbacks,
Yeah.
Calvin?
Right? In championship sports, particularly football, you take every point in the championship game. It is important that you understand that, right? Because as you saw yesterday, there were a number of field goals taken that resulted in me wearing this hat. So let's be clear. All right, welcome to EMIYTV, Put Your Family First Podcast. I got that off my chest.
Right, reel it back in.
We got a special guest. I had to do that.
I have football in my household every day. So.
Oh my
You
goodness!
understand?
Oh yes.
Oh my goodness!
So was anybody over there? Right. So first, before we get into this, Heather, how you doing? We have a special guest in the building today.
I am doing awesome. Thank you. I had a great day today.
Good. And I've been watching this sister for years, right?
I've been watching you too.
And I first experienced the book signing, the book fair at, I think it was on Auto Drive at, what's his name, church?
Fellowship Chapel.
Fellowship Chapel. And I said, one day I'm gonna be in this, right? And at the time, I had my first book out. But anyway, welcome Janiece Black Haynes.
Thank you.
Yes. And she is the designer, the visionary, the leader of what you pointing to?
Just trying to make sure you stay on task today.
The 8th annual African American Family Book Expo.
That's a long name, huh?
Yes, it's a good name.
It's a powerful name. That 8 is even powerful.
It's intentional.
Yes.
Yes, right. And I'm supposed to stay on subject today, but Janiece, you said your house do football.
Yes, our house do football every
Right.
day. I hear all the noise, and we have our own TVs, so we can watch this
So
football.
last night, I guess they're not really Kansas City fans.
No.
All right, so it was real quiet.
Matter of fact, he fell asleep.
Yeah. Let's give it. It was real quiet, right?
Calvin, but before we start,
Yes, dear.
and not only is this a special day,
Yes. I was headed that way. I was headed. But go ahead, do your thing.
A special day for our team just to be gathered together and have Janiece with us today. But for our engineer, who is celebrating her Earth Day today, and she's sparkly and vibrant today, to help us to recognize and celebrate her today. So thank you, Monique. Thank you for sharing your birthday with us.
Happy
because
birthday.
you didn't have to be here to do this, but I thank you that you are. And for how you contribute to our team and how you make this all work together. So we so appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, this is a fun show.
Happy birthday
I gotta watch more
to
often.
you. Happy birthday, dear Monique. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank
Well, that's the first serenade we have on the show.
Yes, I feel special. Thank you.
You are special. Thank you. And especially to us. So,
Oh, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
yes.
Thanks for letting me be a part of now.
Oh,
Thank
blessings.
you.
So we are talking not only to our guests, but we're going to frame it. You know, I like to frame our shows when we get started so that it really helps to enlighten us, and not just in the experience and the wisdom that our guests bring, but also to try to make this make sense. Because our podcast is Put Your Family First. And so today we're framing this from a lens of literacy, of family literacy in particular, and our values. And so I wanted to just start, we are always talking about acceptable culture. You know, that's how I begin. And when we talk about acceptable culture, there are some things that as families that we've gotten away from, and some things that we can get back to. We always have an opportunity to reset. So our reset means that we can stop, pause, reflect, adopt new ways of thinking, new values, new tools, and then start to apply them where we are. We don't have to look back with regret. What we do is start now and build from here. So I want to just share a couple of benefits to family literacy and reading as a family. So, and we're not talking about necessarily right, wrong, good or bad ways. We're just sharing some information, some things that, again, that you can pick up and do today, in addition to meeting us on Saturday at the book expo. So we'll pick up with that conversation in just a minute. So I just want to share just a couple of insights for you. The first one is, according to the Literacy Project, it says 45 million Americans are functionally illiterate and cannot read above the 5th grade level. And they said largely it's due to the lack of reading as an adolescent. And so here are some ways that we can shift, correct that path and that direction, and have fun in the process. So it doesn't have to be that literacy is so difficult or so hard or so cumbersome or so much more time consuming. It's something that we can add in our lives as a part of our regular culture, our regular family routines. And so here's some things I wanted to make sure that we talked about. The first one is that reading together as a family and family literacy builds connections. And so that's building connections with each other. That's another way to build relationships, have conversations, find things that you have in common, explore together. And it could be you're reading a comic book. It could be you just start somewhere. It could be the newspaper. I know when I was younger, it used to be the newspaper, and we had magazines. So in my household, you had age-appropriate magazines. So my sister had 17 magazine, and I had Young Miss magazine. Those were the ones that were available when I was growing up. And so, but we were challenged to read the articles. They always had some interesting self-assessment to do or something like that. So though my mom encouraged our reading by applying to those magazines that were specifically for girls and that had some level of interest. They talked about fashion and hygiene and careers and things like that at that age. So I'm really grateful for how reading in my family. We had Bible study in my family, in our household. My mom was a Sunday school teacher, so we had our own Bible studies at home, which was fun, learning about the different stories of the Bible. And we also had book challenges and book readings. We used to go to the library as well. So my family was, even now, my family is really deep with readers. But that was because my parents introduced it to us in a way that was fun. How about you, Calvin? Oh.
Reading is, my mantra. We even created a program. Reading is life. Without understanding that part, you will struggle. It's reading and comprehension is very, 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 very important. When you say illiterate, you can just take it from a cognitive position, and understanding why words impact your life so much. While the average impoverished household only gets 30,000 words, where in-house, where is an educated household and the father-led households, you get 1.5 to 2 million households. Isn't it amazing that oftentimes men are accused of not talking, but we talk a lot of times to our children because we're implying instruction. But to add my little sauce to this, the age, appropriate age for how important men are to the cognitive ability of their children is age 2 and 3. And participating, how fathers can participate, allows our children to read. So in households where stories are told is important. In our house, that's all we had. We had stories. We grew up at the time we were growing up, it was stories everywhere. Because our house was active. We had people. We had projects. My parents had a record label. We had charter buses. We had people. Like my mom would help. Like it was our house banged with people. Even when people were displaced, right? We would take people in. My grandparents, same thing. So everywhere we went, conversation was happening, stories. And so that's a big impact to literacy. Whereas we're telling young boys today, Janiece, to shut up, be quiet. And then we wonder why men don't talk. What about you?
Oh, my reading. Obviously, plays an integral part of my life. I grew up with books. My grandmother was a teacher, and my mother had books on our bookshelves, from ebony magazines to Jets to Black history encyclopedias that were written and produced by Ebony. So, and then in our school in Detroit, on the east side, our teachers were really engaged with us. They taught us Black history. We were taught phonics back then. So I just have a deep love for books. Books make the world go round. Books tell the stories. If you want to know something that's truth, you find it in a book.
Find it in a book.
You find it in a book, and it's so broad. I mean, it's just so much to learn.
Yes.
And being a bookstore owner, I come across so many genres of books. It will blow your mind. They just get published every single day. I get the magazine called Publisher Weekly. And when they say Publisher Weekly, they mean Publisher Daily, because it's books galore, just all genres for all nationalities, and more now than ever before for African Americans, the Black culture. You know, we have a lot of authors just like blooming out of the woodwork, out of the ground, you know, with all types of books with different character settings and topics, from health disparities to health consciousness to raising your kids as a black family or woman, just everything you can name, any subject matter you can name, there's a book for it. And the good thing is about a book is it's not going to go out. It's not going to lose its power. Mm-hmm. It's not going to ever lose its power. So if the power goes out, you have books with information in it. You can never go crazy because you can attend to your books to learn how to survive. So books for me is life, like Calvin said. It is. And I think our black families are now on the rise with accepting it now as a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do with Detroit Book Cities. We consider ourselves a family-owned bookstore. My husband and I, we run it. He's the back end of it, the backbone, and I'm the runner in the front. So
nice.
It's a family thing. It like the host said, both of them, they said it needs to be in your household. It needs to start there, and it needs to start in the womb. Mm-hmm. That's how early it needs to start.
Come on.
In the womb. So when they come out of the womb, they're already speaking your language. They're already speaking a language. They're already speaking whatever you teaching them.
That's right.
Whatever you're reading. So we sell infant, toddler books. That's very crucial. Even when we go to shows where we know it's an adult show, I still have the infant, toddler books just in case they're grandparents. And we have a lot of grandparents that buy their books from us. So
nice.
Books make the world go round.
Yeah, it's going to be some children's books this Saturday.
Plenty of children's books this Saturday.
Yeah.
Plenty of authors selling, and a lot of self-esteem books that encourage and empower our children to love themselves as black and brown people. We have a lot of books on the market for that. Matter of fact, we're in the schools right now through our Book Up Literacy program. It's called Book Up Literacy, and we host it inside of the schools in Metro Detroit. And there's a small fee. We bring our book dog, Brody, and Brody opens up the kids when they come in. He gets them excited about reading. He's dancing with his little head. He's a bulldog. And he does those new moves, the dances that they do, and they get all in like, okay, Brody, okay. Get them excited. And then I come with my spiel of why reading is important or why Black history is important right now, this month.
That's right.
Why Black history is important, and we introduce them to Carter G. Woodson. That's the first thing we do, the godfather of Black history. We let them know why he started this, and I'm here behind him. He's my ancestor. I'm doing what he did back then. I go into the schools and I teach Black history. So, I don't want to take over the show. I can
No.
We got you.
That's right.
Yeah,
but
you
that
got
Book Up
plenty.
Literacy program, when we bring our books to the schools, we bring infant books from upper, lower elementary, middle school, high school, and adult books. So when the parents pick up their kids at the end of that day, we'll hang around for them to come in and find a book for themselves.
Nice.
That is
It's all about the family with it. If they don't see you reading, they're not going to read. You are the leader to this. I don't care if you're faking it because you really didn't have a knack for reading. Just act like you're reading. You'll be surprised. And then they want to read. They'll copy they'll mimic everything you do.
Hey, we share. We say that all the time. It's important. We even, in our mentoring program, we stress that to the parents. Take 1 hour out your day, cut everything off, and read. And let them see you read and have to sit them down, especially those before they enter elementary school and daycare. You should be sitting and allowing them. It teaches them discipline, so when they go to the school, they can listen and learn. I just lecturing my boys yesterday about the video games. I am an avid. I'm big on. Don't even get one.
I'm big on don't even get one. You know why? Because to me, it's a distraction. It takes them away from the basics of the book. It does. Even if there's books on there, it's a lot of distractions with commercials, and if they're on somebody chiming in, they got to stop and see what's going on there. When you're with a book, you're in a quiet space. You're holding your book. You're by yourself. You're in a higher power, actually, and it allows you to engage more. To me, when I see kids on tablets, it reminds me of us with TV. How we had like a certain time we can watch TV. There was a cutoff. I encourage parents to really include books in that schedule and let them know you only have this much time to be on your tablet. This much time on your books. Just kind of organize and set time limits on it, because it'll take over them. And to me, that's a whole other society when the media takes over our kids. it's a whole nother world for them. And sometimes you don't know they're going through it, but they're watching it every day while you think they're busy. They're busy sometimes looking at stuff that don't belong in their brain so early. Mm-hmm. And then they take it to the school level, and then you're looking crazy in front of the teachers because you got them heavily, oh, they're at a tablet, just let them, they're quiet. No. You're going to have the kids, take time to raise them properly. Take time to read to them and let them know how important it is. When 9th grade and 10th grade come along, if you can't read that application, you can't get the job. If you can't pass that driver's license test, you can't drive. That's how important it is. So, we try to make it fun. We have these events quarterly to have fun and to bring the whole family out. We encourage our audience to bring the kids. Please bring the kids. It's an exciting day at the African American Family Book Expo.
Awesome. Thank you. So you touched on a couple of the other 4 things I wanted to bring to our conversation.
That's okay. We can elaborate.
So the next one, number 2, is that reading helps to develop language. This is a study from the Economic and Social Research Institute concluded that babies who are read to and talked to score higher in language skills and cognitive development, such as problem-solving skills. So that's another important piece. It creates listening skills. Hearing a story aloud involves comprehension, and comprehension is dependent upon paying attention. And reading, again, out loud helps them to mimic, like you mentioned, the words and some of the actions, especially if you're really expressive when you are reading your story. The third one is that it teaches life lessons. Stories and books provide an opportunity to talk about real-world problems in age-appropriate ways. And so I like the idea that you even spoke to doing it quarterly. I think that's really helpful because not only are we teaching our children, but we're learning in the process. It's not just one way. And then the last one is that it broadens creativity. And it says reading a book as a family will provide an excellent opportunity to get your child to start talking, telling stories, and connecting with others, giving them the best start in life.
That was such a great presentation. We need you to be in the reading room at the event. We're going to line all the millennial parents out here in the Black culture, line them up so you can share with them the benefits, just those basic things. Mm-hmm. Those things that you just mentioned will keep kids very happy, and just make them empowered and have a joy for life when they know how important reading is. That's what it does for me as a 50-plus-year-old. I still get a joy out of reading,
Yes, absolutely.
Those are great benefits.
It takes you places.
It takes you places right at home.
Does.
I mean, you can travel to the other side of the moon through a book.
Yeah,
you really
books
can.
Take you places.
That's the fantasy books as well. There's so many genres.
Some of them make you angry too.
Oh yeah, some of them make you
right?
angry
Because
too.
you learn something that you really didn't expect to learn, right?
Exactly.
And that's the case. Is there, because she's been going pretty good, is there a question you would like to ask?
Yeah, I do want her to talk a little bit more about the expo. Let's give some more detail about that. So it says one of the first questions I wanted to know is this: talk more about the expo itself and what are we to expect?
The Black Expo, this is our 8th annual. We started our first book expo in 2017. It was held at Northwest Activity Center. It was an idea, to be honest, at first. I have a background of working with people and knowing how to bring people together. I started my career off in HR, so I'm a people person. And I went from HR to publishing a teen magazine back in the late 90s. Mm-hmm. It was called Detroit Urban Teen. I don't know if you remember that. It was around for a little while, but I was so young. I was like 28 years old, and I had this idea to help the young people, and I've always had the idea to help the young people, and now here I'm over 55, and I'm still helping the young people.
Good.
But it started from a concept of just getting people together with books. I ran a print company for 12 years prior to doing Detroit Book City, and it was called Around D-Town Promotions, and we supplied digital printing, promotional products, and apparel. I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I was able to put graphics together real quick and, secured a couple of suppliers and ran that for 12 years. And then I got bored with that. I turned 50, and I was like, you know what? It's time for me to do something I really, really love. And I looked to the side, and I saw this whole closet full of books. My books. And I'm like, this is what I love to do. I'm not going to, I'm going to do something that's passionate. But how am I going to do it? I don't know yet. I'll just keep listening to my spirit, right? It's going to come soon how to do this thing with these books. So I've done some Black business expos in the past. I had a book out called Talk of the Town. I lived in Louisville, Kentucky for 10 years. And I published a book out there called Talk of the Town. It was an advertising handbook to Black business. I ran it full time. I was able to connect with everybody. They used to call me Miss Little Detroit, coming in that little town with all this energy. And I ran that thing, and I ran it for 3 years full time. And then I contracted with a woman down there with the Black pages, and I got to know more people in addition to working for corporate. So I knew how to bring people together, especially Black coach, our people, right? So I said, why don't I try to do an expo? So the idea was just an idea. So I said, I'm going to throw my graphics together, put something up, and, see if I get some leads. I put it up, and I got an overwhelming amount of leads, like 65 people for our first book expo.
Wow. So
I found, bingo, there's a need here. There's a need here. Where's the Black bookstores? Northland. We had Nefertiti, Northland. Shrine of the Black Madonna had already closed. Source, I don't think, was open yet. So we didn't have a bookstore. I mean, we had Northland. I remember going there a few times. Right. Apple was a long time ago. So putting that ad up, grabbing those 65 people, securing a spot, I said, bingo, here it is. I never been to anything like this, a book expo with Black authors in my life. Never. And especially as a kid, it didn't exist.
Right.
We didn't have it because we really didn't have any books. Me growing up in the 70s, we didn't have any books with Black leading characters or protagonists. We didn't have them, So this idea just came together, and we opened up that day, and I got a call from 9:10 a.m. saying, hey, we owe Northwest Activity Center a favor. We're gonna live broadcast your book fair.
Wow.
So I was kind of scared, like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't expect this much. 65 people, here come the radio station. Knowing I'm an outgoing person and love to talk, but I got really nervous. And then, of course, we opened up the doors, and 2,000 people showed up. There was a line around the corner.
Wow.
So they were excited as my little ideal. They were just as excited. They had their kids in the strollers. People came in wheelchairs, and there was a line around the corner to the back of the parking lot.
Wow.
So I saw the need. I said God saw the need, and he worked through me. I have to give him all the glory with that one. And we've been hosting it ever since. And really what it's about is preserving literacy, Black literature, amplifying Black voices in Metro Detroit. Who are we? Who's who in Black literature? Who's who in the Black authors? That's what this event is about.
Nice.
So this is going to go down in Black history right here in Detroit, like Black Bottom and all the other neighborhoods and all the things we've done here.
Yes.
Our Black book authors, we need to know who they are so we can shop with them and we can learn about the stories that's happening right here in our neighborhood.
Well, one of my guys is David Miller.
David Miller, awesome. I love David Miller.
That was one of the main reasons. Right, I came over and I brought him a hoodie that day. We connected in several rooms when it comes to this work with Black men and boys. I agree. You guys on the same level with that, and I thank you guys for that with the boys too. Yeah, he comes in from out of town to come to our events. Yep. So this is our 8th annual. I mean, we've partnered with Southfield Public Library one year and had it at their location. That was the Fall Family Book Fair. That usually happens in October. Of course, this is the first one in February, the 8th annual. And then we have a Juneteenth book fair. And then we have a holiday book fair. So we try to keep it active. I didn't realize it was going to be so many book fairs. You just never know how God works through you, right?
That's right.
But my thing was, this voice inside of me said, keep it going. I don't care if you have one of them and a lot of people don't show up, because that is the challenge, them showing up sometime, Even though that first one was a big bang, woo, woo, woo. There's a couple in between where we might have had, 20 people come, but they spent money and the networking was phenomenal. And I feel like these events they just need to happen because we have to keep our books alive, especially in the age of 2024 when they're trying to ban them.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and that comes out. I think it's incredible, but the part I don't like in that is the fact that sure they've been banning the story in books. The part that you're replacing is you're upping the truth by having these exposed. And it's such an important piece that, people get behind it, people, and support it. The fear of not being able to read should drive this area through the roof, because it's in everything. And so one of my quotes, I am not a victim. I'm not a victim. And I'm not going to hand you those words that's going to make you a hero.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. I believe that, we must understand that how we speak to each other, it directly coordinates from the information that we get from our literature, our books,
I agree.
Our stories. Right? And so right now, sometimes, which is incredible, we tell so many negative stories and uplift other cultures. Right?
That's a whole nother topic, but yes.
That's a whole nother topic, right? Yeah. We tell so many negative stories and uplift, right? But while saying what we can't do, but what they can, right? That blows me away. So I've not... to be clear, no matter where I went, I would like to say I was leading. So even when I was graduating from Ferndale High School.
Is that where you went, Ferndale? My daughter, too, she graduated from Ferndale.
Yeah, I graduated from Ferndale.
Got the Eagles in the house.
Right? Yeah. But Ferndale, it was the education that showed me, right, how your leadership is important, right? It was my principal when we graduated. It was 400 in the class.
Wow.
And what was said that day was we were responsible for changing the fabric of the country. And go be about that and don't be like that. Mm-hmm. And so Mr. Dezaki always... He was one of the men, and I'm sorry I'm going here, but Mr. Dezaki was another one of those men that was in my life that we had many conversations. This was a principal. I had more conversations with him as a principal than I did the brother that was a principal. So
interesting.
And I say that because Mr. D, that's how he was, right? The other principal, he wanted to crack jokes and stuff, right? But Mr. Dezaki was teaching and often pulled me in the class, out of class, to share my conduct and encourage me because I was very, very, very popular, right? And I say all that to say it was those operations, those times and those things that has shaped who I am. So I don't ask for permission to do this work. I don't ask for permission to lead. And that also comes from literacy because when I was a young tyke, I had to go to the library.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I don't know if you remember the red, white, and blue Black History books with the white cover and they had the little red, white, and blue ribbon on it. And they had the black person in the middle of the book. I'm old. I'm old.
Right.
I don't know. You're in a different generation.
Yeah. I'm a little older.
I don't know. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 58.
I am too.
Yep. So
You're 66, baby. You're 66.
65.
Oh, okay. So you're older.
Yeah.
I still don't remember that book, and I was at the library too, but I don't remember that book.
Right. So we had to take it out, right? And so, going to at this time, Pastor Elementary, in being getting in trouble, right? But knowing I had to go to the library.
Yeah, we were a different generation than way back.
Yeah.
We had the same. Yeah, I get it. It was a whole different lifestyle.
And the people.
The people, they cared about us.
They cared about us.
Everybody cared. The neighbors, the teachers, everybody cared.
We weren't, like, even on our block, we weren't selling drugs to each other.
No. It was a family.
It was a family.
It was a family.
We weren't doing that, right?
East side of Detroit for me. We were a family.
Yeah. And it's an incredible thing because I know we went there, but like it's an incredible thing to know your neighbors and people. I just got reconnected with someone that's cousins who lived directly behind us, who the oldest brother that is the same age as my brother bought the house next to where we is, and where we lived was a vacant lot, bought the lot.
Wow. Yep, you guys are connected for life.
Right.
Because my daddy was a gospel pioneer, so that's a historic place for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet it feel very nostalgic. There's some
Anytime I
neighborhoods.
drive down 8 Mile and Prairie.
Some neighborhoods I know I go through as
Anytime
well.
I drive down 8 Mile
I
and
think we
Prairie.
in that
And I will
phase
pull
of
over
life.
there.
Yep.
I will pull over there just to drive through. Right?
I do the same thing with
Bobo
old places.
Brazil lived on our street.
Do the same.
The Wrestler. We had some incredible men on our street, right? But literacy was a huge part of that.
Huge part of it.
It was a
growing
huge
up.
part
Yes.
of that.
I see we're the same age, so we definitely grew up in the same era.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
It was a huge
It was a
thing
huge
for
part.
us.
Looking out for each other.
And Black
huge.
history was a huge thing for us too, where I
Yeah.
come from.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Go ahead. I know you're looking at me.
Actually, I wanted to ask a little bit more. If you could talk a little bit. You talked about your journey into HR and then graphic design, like all of those amazing career pathways. Seems like you were still able to bring a level of creativity into those spaces.
yeah, all of it comes together now. Like just for this company alone, having an interest in books as a kid, being in recruiting and HR, working with people, brings people together. I took some classes at Henry Ford Community College years ago, and studied graphic design. So I get to create my own flyers and website and brochures and tickets and everything that I need. We have the heat press machine, so I can press my own hats and jackets. And then my knack for people, all of it comes together. Everything that I had in my career path, I'm doing it all in one job today.
And your books, talk about that.
My books, I printed a couple of books. I published a couple of books. One was the Detroit Urban Teen. Like I said, it was a teen magazine when I was 28. It was designed to educate, inform, and entertain. I remember I was so young. So we had articles in there about students at school. We had a fashion team with that magazine. We hired high school students to be our fashion crew, and we would put on the prom show. We would put on the fall fashion show. So as you can see, I did events way back then. And then when I moved I also worked for Detroit Public Schools back then. I worked at Northern High School as a compact coordinator. Remember Compact, Detroit Compact?
I was one too. Yeah.
I was a compact coordinator at Northern High School back in 94. 94. And then I left and moved to Kentucky. And I lived out there for 10 years. And out there, I put together Louisville Urban Team, which was pretty similar to Detroit Urban Team. I just couldn't stay away from the young people. I just had to continue to be a mentor and, keep them empowered through some kind of medium where they're still reading.
Right.
So I kind of go way back. And then when I came back to Detroit, I did Around D-Town. It was a coupon book. It was an advertising coupon book to black business. And inside of it, I had a bunch of Detroit history in there. Now, I remember I got a newspaper article after that. They had highlighted me back then. That was in 2005 or 6. And then from there, what did I do? Oh, gosh, I started the print company after that, Around D-Town Promotion. So I've been an entrepreneur all my life, pretty much in my 20s. But I also worked for corporate, too. I did Sinai Hospital as a 20-year-old. I did Michigan Cancer Foundation. I worked at Michigan Cancer Foundation first, and I was in HR. And I had a wonderful boss who taught me everything she knew, and I was ready to learn everything I could. And from there, I went to Sinai, and I had another great boss, Deborah Williams. I had to shout her out. She was my mentor. She was excellent. She taught me everything she knew, and I tell her that to this day. And then from there, when I was in Louisville, I worked at GE Appliances in HR. I was a staffing recruiter. We recruited information tech personnel there. In the meantime, I was still doing my side hustles, and that's the print publishing business of just promoting black culture in some kind of way, our businesses, our kids. And here I am in this day and age still doing it, this time with books. And I think this is just the end. If I see myself doing anything else in my career, it will be genealogy, helping people find their roots. Because I have a strong interest in in history. History
Yes.
rocks my world because it lets me know who I am today.
Yes.
And I feel like the ancestors work through me every day with this business.
Yes.
Every day.
Absolutely.
They're with me, because
Yeah.
there's some struggle sometime when I go inside some of the school systems. It's a struggle sometime.
And what you see.
It's what I see with the kids and just some of their teachers. I'm going to be honest, some of the teachers, I feel like, I don't see the love that I got when I was their age with some of the teachers.
Well, you didn't walk in. The one thing, you walked in with something on your sheet. We're handing kids over with a blank sheet, so they're not coming in. Even you will see kids, the parents drop them off at the door, have an expectation, and have not taught them anything. You walked in with information, how to access information, the use of your brain, right? Because that's what we grew up in. Mm-hmm. They're growing up in a different slate, like with an expectation, and that, well, I ain't got to teach it, the school to teach it. And then when they got bad grades, there's an attack. Mm-hmm. It has affected education, right? Because you got to think about it as a teacher. You walked in the classroom, I can teach you.
I'm not saying all teacher. I better be real clear.
No. I know you're not saying all. I'm just saying this is what the teachers.
Not all teachers.
This is what the teachers are up against. This is what they're dealing with, right? Because they're dealing with trauma, poverty, right? They're dealing with the permission, what's the way I can do anything.
Lack of boundaries.
No boundaries whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Disrespectful. Thinking you can talk to an adult. So it's hard for them to really get in to teach our children, a lot of children who come from traumatic backgrounds and a lack of literacy being taught early on. We can teach you how to dance, but we struggle with teaching you how to read. And so when you go into class, you can dance, but you can't read.
Yeah, I'm mindful of that. I really am mindful of that. I have to remind myself of that. Yeah, it is tough.
It's tough.
They have it tough, yeah.
It's
and
very,
I appreciate
very
them
tough.
allowing us to come in and work with them in a fun capacity, but at the same time, they're learning from us, Because I found that with the kids there, they're very attentive. Just a couple of events we had last week, they were very attentive. These kids are super smart. I told them that when you tap in, I said, you're so gifted on the inside, all you have to do is just tap into it. Just tap into your gift, and you can do anything you want to do. We were in one of our schools were set up like an assembly, right? So we had the first group come, and then we had the second group come, and we had 100-something kids out there. And these are like kindergartens and first graders and second graders. Very attentive. They responded to we had some kid authors there. We're talking about them being an author as a kid, and they were asking really, really good questions. So I was very impressed with them. Don't underestimate the kids that are in the urban schools. They have a lot of intelligence. It's just we need to work with them. We have to continue to shape them. Mm-hmm. And I feel like these books that when we take the books to the school, the principals already know they have African American characters. That's all we bring. That's all we bring for all levels, because I want them to see themselves in that light. Of doing something positive, of thinking positive, a story that they can learn from. Like one student came, one author came, her name is Tamaya. She's 9 years old, and she's an author, and her book is about grief. She brought it up, how grief could be in different forms. And then the kids were responding how, she asked them to raise their hand if they had any form of grief, that she explained it, and just about every kid in that audience raised their hand. So,
wow.
Yeah, we know what we're dealing with when we go into the schools, but we just keep like family at the forefront. When we come in, we don't just want to be like Scholastic and just have all the books for the kids. We want the parents to come in. We're going to hang around. We want them to come in and find a book, too, that's going to help empower them to make their household better, which means their kids will be better.
Yes.
Dope. Love that.
Yes.
Love that. So, last details. Tell everybody at this particular point, right? Give us the last details, what we're expecting to see Saturday and how it looks and which way it goes.
Saturday, we are hanging out with the ancestors at the Historic People's Community Church on Woodward, 8601 Woodward at Pingree. When you come in at 12:30, the doors open. The first 100 guests will get a wonderful swag bag full of information from our sponsors, which is Aetna, Molina Healthcare of Michigan, who else? National Heritage Academies. Who else? One more person. Oh gosh. Anyway, you'll get that swag bag with some really nice things you can use, household items, literacy resources. Then you'll stroll forward, right? We got the music, the ambience in the air. Usually it's jazz or it's big band or it's some not hip hop, but what do you call it? Some really good music. My husband, DJ Holly, he'll be spinning the sounds for you. So you'll feel that vibration when you walk in, and then you walk to the front, to the left. You're going to see these wonderful authors, over 30 of them, selling books, adult and children books, all genres. They'll have their accessories on the table as well. The networking is priceless. We expect at least, right now we have 450 registered guests that plan to come out. It's free. All you have to do is register online at AAEXPO 2024 at eventbrite.com, or just go to DetroitBookCity.com and you can get tickets to come. We do ask that everybody register so we'll know who's in the room, because we have to protect ourselves. So it's going to be an exciting event. Family fun filled, okay? Fun. And then we have also, let me just mention, we have a food vendor. Now, his Funk It Up Fries is going to be on site, selling his wonderful Funk It Up Fries. And so if you have a delicacy for food, then you're going to like his unique items.
Well, we know somebody like potatoes. All you ladies love potatoes and bread.
Yes, we do.
So we know who's going to be eating the Funk It Up Fries.
Ooh,
Also, let me also mention before we leave that this year we registered with the as a National African American Read-In host. That's with the National Council of Teachers of English. There's a woman, I can't think of her name, but she started this a few years ago. And basically, you come in and you read an excerpt from a story, poem, or song written by a legendary African American. That's going to take place in the Reading Lounge starting at 1 o'clock. And our famous opening act will be One Single Rose. She's going to kick it off with one of her fly cool poetry phrases, and then we're going to go from there. So if you'd like to register for that, you can also go to our website and sign up. I think we have a few spots left. So it's just going to be culturally entertaining, educational. Like I said, we're at the Historic People's Community Church, so the ancestors will be there with us, and we're just going to amplify Black voices and pump up Black literature for Black History Month.
And the time is from 12:30 to 5?
12:30 to 5. Okay. It's free. Just come on out, bring the kids. I guarantee you're going to be empowered when you leave, and you're going to have a great time. You're going to meet a lot of people.
And we, of course, are part of those authors, that list of 30 authors. So come and visit my table for some of my books for couples, for women of purpose, trying to find your purpose, for grief, and for finding your space of peace. Calvin, you can come and learn more about fatherhood, get your fatherhood resources, get your children's books, be a part of this unique opportunity. Meet us in person. I'm looking forward to spending more time with Janiece. She's just a wealth of information. I can just say that she's not going to get away after this.
My pleasure. I would love to.
Me too. I'd love to spend some time. So that's awesome. I'm really excited about this opportunity, and I am so grateful to you and your husband for making this event such an amazing success. We know we already claim it, but because you've already done this work, we just thank you for this contribution that you've made to our culture, our community, and what's next for our young people.
Thank you so much. We take pride in it. I mean, we're just passionate about it. It's really a humble experience. You know, it has to be done, and whoever is coming in after us, you know, we'll help you get started. But right now, this is our time to give as much as we can to let our families know how important literacy is. And let's bridge that gap. What is it, 51% now, adult illiteracy rate? Let's bridge the gap, guys. You have access to books now. And if you want to sign up for Book Up Literacy Day, hit me up, Janiece at Detroit Book City, and we'll definitely come out and set up a Book Up Literacy Day at your event, at your corporation, at your school, at your senior citizen complex, because the seniors are very important and they are definitely welcome. Matter of fact, that's the other organization. The Healthier Black Elders Center will be there as well. They're another sponsor.
Nice.
I'm glad I mentioned that. So seniors, please come out. You guys will really enjoy this.
That's so awesome.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So
I do have two quick questions before we close down. I am curious about who are your favorite authors?
Oh, let's see. Oh gosh.
Or books.
James Baldwin. I still like to read James Baldwin's books. I like Maya Angelou. I still like her all her material. Nikki Giovanni. I guess I'm still mentioning all the 60s people, right? Maybe I'm mentioning that because that's the real Black history, and those are the books they're trying to ban. Those are the books so put it like this, if people are creating Black history books now, they usually reflect off those people, Baldwin and Giovanni and all those. That's why they want to take them away, because then they can't reflect off the truth. They'll think, oh, they're just making this up. How are you going to make up Black history? You can't make up Black history.
Right.
So those are my favorite. Just some of the old school authors.
apparently you can make up white history. Tell everybody where they can reach you at.
You can reach me at DetroitBookCity.com. We don't have the store anymore. We closed it intentionally in July because we decided to take our books to the neighborhood. That's our new tagline. We take books to the hood, or we take books to the neighborhood. But you can always contact us at 248-993-3844.
Heather?
You can find me at Your Inspired Journey. That's inspired with a D, yourinspiredjourney.com. You can reach me by phone at 313-759-7855. Again, 313-759-7855.
You can reach me at calvintman.com, but I'm reminded of a moment in time when this wasn't in the conversation, that bookstores and those things were normal. I'm reminded that the philosophy around shortcutting allowed us to apply foolishness in the destruction of homes. I was present early on in early education and those things as a child, and I'm reminded of how important it was just to be able to spell. Spelling bees were normal. They were a part of the education, and the household was involved deeply. I'm reminded of you being spanked while being lectured to. And although you decided to take the whooping, you didn't want to hear the conversation, because the conversation was worse than the spanking. I'm reminded in watching the shift and how we deem the man not important to the child. I'm reminded in 1975 when they launched child support, the National Organization for Women decided to announce that all women would raise the children. I'm reminded of where the resources have gone. But I'm reminded that right now we have more males in prison than we had in slavery. And I'm reminded that it is connected to the lack of fathering, but more important, more along the lines, rather, not more important, but more along the lines of not being able to read, which will cause a young man or a young woman to act out in school just to protect themselves from not being acknowledged that I cannot read. I'm reminded of walking in classrooms and seeing young men and in schools and seeing young men really talk bad because they can't read. I'm reminded of a young man on my basketball team who fought hard to make the team, and he made the team, and the teacher made a mistake and gave him a bad grade in Spanish, and we didn't take bad grades. And so he had to leave. I'm reminded of his work the very next day of almost losing that opportunity. And now watching him today as a father and a husband and a provider to his children, and watching his children soar. Literacy is the root. If you do not understand that, then we continue to fail our children and family. This podcast is called Put Your Family First Podcast because it's indicative to our work. These are all my wife's notifications that she has tagged on my phone that's going off in the background. Right? It's like 19 of them every 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm reminded that you should read them too. Right. But more importantly, we need to understand how important this expo has been, being in its 8th, and we need to understand how important the work that is going in by the people that's putting their hand to the plow to make the culture look better.
And feel better.
And feel better.
And feel better.
But more importantly, literacy is the root. It is the very thing that grounds you. The more you read, the more you know and learn. The more you read and comprehend, the farther you can go. There are some very brilliant people out here. I remember talking to a friend that said turns out he was a cousin. Said he bluffed everybody till it got down to the time that he really had to read. And he had to go and learn how to read. And he was 30 years old. That he had tricked his way to 30.
Wow.
And couldn't read.
Wow.
It's amazing. I said, that's an amazing skill because not many people are able to pull that off. And he said, I was just able to mimic people until it was time for me to really read. And I had children, and I had to teach my children how to read. So I sat down and I learned with my children and taught myself and my children how to read. Reading is life. And with that being said, my name is Calvin Mann, president and founder of Encourage Me, I'm Young, with our special guest, Janiece, and the love of my life to the right, Heather. We thank you. Peace.